Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Mostly.
Hoo boy. Wow. So, per the norm from how we usually start these,
It's time to chill.
it's time to broadcast our podcast, if you will. That has a nice ring to it, right? So, we are everywhere.
Wherever you find podcasts.
Wherever you find podcasts. We're even on stuff you may not find podcasts on.
True.
I don't know how many podcasts post on Reddit. Maybe a lot. Maybe a little. I don't know. We're on there too, though.
We are. Everywhere you hear podcasts, wherever you may hear us, please give us a follow, a like, whatever you do. If you want to send us...
Are we good at posting yet? No. But do we have a PR team? No. So...
if you just count the two of us as PR, it's fine.
You know what? We're doing well for what we have.
But
we're also on YouTube. If you want to check us out there, They Mostly Come Out at Night podcast. You'll see our logo. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell. We've had a really good month, so we're pretty excited about it. So, if you can help out the podcast, that would be awesome. If not, then, I guess that's your choice, but...
No biggie.
No biggie,
And if there's any, any movies that you think we've missed or you really want us to talk about.
I want someone to suggest something.
We have done.
No,
2 suggestions.
that's true.
I remember because I had to watch, what was it, Beyond the Door?
Yes. Oh, that's right.
And The Dark.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen,
you can just send us movies to torture us. Honestly,
as long as they fit in the action horror,
and they're not like we call it hee-haw.
That's our term. Yes.
Where it's like
it's not trademarked
It's
yet.
not like it's not trademark.
Not yet.
But where it's not like purposely funny.
Yeah.
We want movies that are trying to be scary or action.
No comedy.
No, it's fine if there's comedy in the movie, but it can't be purposefully like a spoof.
No, yeah.
So no hee-haw stuff. So if you're gonna send us a recommendation, or if you just want to hear our reaction to some dark web bullshit you found that we have never heard of, go ahead and submit it, and we'll probably watch it. To be honest, and we got some really good milestones coming up. We got our 200th episode coming up. We're about at 200 subs on YouTube. We're doing pretty good, so
yeah,
we're excited.
And hey, we finished off another year.
And yeah, now 1982 has ended, and I have to look at the list because I was not prepared for this.
I'm still not prepared. I even looked at it, and I'm still in my head deciding.
Of course, you told me while we were watching the movie. It started, and you're like, oh yeah, I should mention this is the end of 1982.
Well, it's fine. I didn't look at it until the movie was over, because the movie was lit.
This movie was awesome. Now that we've gotten that, our advertisement out of the way, yeah, let's get into it. So, little indie film. You may have heard of it. I don't know. You may have heard of it, maybe not. There wasn't there wasn't a lot of hubbub about it. It's just called the Amityville Horror.
There hasn't been a billion of these.
There hasn't been a million remakes and sequels and just bullshit going on with this series. Okay.
But
I don't even know how to track this series anymore because there's so many Amityville shit.
Well, it's pointless, and plus all of them are not. They're disconnected other than the house, and even then, honestly,
doesn't the house change from time to time though?
I bet you if you go deep enough,
except for those 2 fucking fan windows.
Well, this is the same house in this movie. I don't know about the interior, but the exterior is the same thing. But I guarantee if you dig deep enough into this franchise, they probably don't even bother keeping the fucking exterior the same.
I don't think they care at this point. It's just you slap Amityville on a fucking movie, and people are gonna just know.
And we've both seen the first one.
Now I'll be honest, I don't I don't hate the original Amityville.
It's alright.
I'm not in love with it. I get
No.
why people like it. And there are parts that I think are cool. Like I do like the part where the priest gets like attacked by the flies, and then the giant booming voice is like, "Get out!" That's really cool. And when he sees like the pig's head in the window, I thought that was really cool. Like there's some cool effects in the movie, and like it's pretty effective as like just a baseline horror movie. But there's not like not there's no kill count. There's some like dark shit going on, but it's pretty tame.
It's kind of vanilla.
Compared to like
This
a
film.
lot compared to a lot of horror films.
A lot of horror films,
But
yes.
especially this one, which is funny because this is the sequel, and I honestly think it's the same universe. I think it's not a direct sequel, but I think
No. Same house.
It's the same house. And I mean, in the same universe, because it's just Amityville 2.
Yeah, it's
The Possession.
It's the haunted. It's the same fucked up house.
But
Yeah,
boy, if you sorry,
Never
what
seen
were you
this
gonna
thing?
say? I interrupted you.
we went in this thing completely blind, as I try, and like, we go into every movie with open mind. Like we're not going into these movies to hate them or love them. Just it is what it is.
I want to say this, and I say this a lot with movies we like. Go watch this movie.
Yes.
Like, don't listen to this review and then go watch it. If you are even remotely interested in the Amityville like horror
And
stuff,
haunted houses and
if you're even remotely interested,
possessions.
if you even remotely liked the first movie, you owe it to yourself to go watch this shit.
to give this thing a chance, yeah.
It's mental. Like, I don't know, like
I can't. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't objectively view this thing because I was fanboying watching this thing.
So go watch this movie before we get into like the heavy spoiler stuff at the end, because you'll want to see this stuff
Happening.
If you watched the first Amityville movie and you were sitting there thinking like, man, I kind of like this movie, but I feel like it could just have more like stuff happening, more dark stuff, more like gore, more evil stuff going on. You know what? This movie
is the one.
This is the movie for you. So if you thought that first one was tame, go watch this one, and holy shit.
No one's gonna accuse this of being
Holy
tame.
Lord, this movie is like night and day difference from the first one. So it's insane. Go watch it but let's get into the review. But
Let's get into it.
if you like the original Amityville, go watch this movie.
Let's get into it.
All right, Amityville 2, The Possession.
So, it starts off kind of the same. The house.
It starts off pretty general. I mean, it's just the family arriving to the house, basically.
And immediately, there's two little kids, a daughter and a son, and you can tell right away that there's a bit of like friction between the son and the dad.
Yeah, because you can tell like the two little kids, obviously like happy-go-lucky, totally innocent, don't know what's going on, right? And then you notice some kind of tension with the mom and the dad, because so it's like the dad arrives with the two kids, and then they run off and look at the lake, and then the mom pulls up with the daughter, and they're all excited and they start singing. And I don't know, I can't remember. Does the dad get annoyed at that singing?
Kind of, yeah. He's like, what the hell?
Because he's like, oh, what are you singing about? And then you see the son pull up in a sports car, and the dad immediately lays into him for
He's like, why are you late? You're supposed to be behind your mom. What's the deal? And he's like, oh, I just stopped to get some cigarettes. He's like,
oh, you think you're cool with
you
cigarettes?
you think you're a man just because you smoke cigarettes, and all this kind of
And
stuff.
he hugs him tight, but it's not like a hug. It's
No.
he pulls him close and reprimands him for not obeying.
Has very Shining vibes.
I will say before we get too deep into this movie gave me it's Shining vibes and then Exorcist vibes. You'll notice at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's pretty heavy-handed on the Exorcist references, but
You know, if you've seen
it doesn't quite go like Exorcist levels, but like it kind of does
the,
in a
the
way.
last like 30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, like the last 30 minutes go heavy into the Exorcist stuff, but
Or, you know, if you watched the third Conjuring movie,
actually it's kind of funny.
the
I even told Alex this. It's like, there's that like South Park episode and like the meme
Simpsons
that
did
like
it.
Simpsons like predict things or
Yeah.
like Simpsons did it first, right? But I'm here to tell you, and we'll get like I'm not gonna spoil it right now, but I'm here to tell you that Amityville 2 did it first.
With a bigger body count.
Yeah, with a gigantic body count.
Because I
Actually,
didn't see where this is going. But yeah, they arrive at the house. Everything seems fine.
so it's like the first night, right? And they're
Oh,
all
real quick, like, cause like they're moving in, and immediately, like, you know, some of the movers get kind of weird vibes off the house. And then one of the movers, they're like in the basement.
yeah. The mom's like unpacking some of the laundry so she can do like laundry, and sees like this like swinging door, and like a guy brings. You see the swinging door, and a guy brings down like a big chest of guns.
The husband's
Which,
guns, fitting.
And then so he's like, you got an extra door down here. I can go take a look for you if you want. And she's like, oh yes, please. So
Gets
he
a
like
flashlight.
he like opened, and in the original movie, this is where like all the blood like started to flow from, and so like it's like that chamber with like the pillars and stuff like that. It's like the gates to hell or something. I can't remember exactly what they were like trying to explain in the first one, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's where the shit comes out.
So he like opens the door, and he's like, oh, like there's flies everywhere, right? And then like he gets like there's something that starts to like drip on him,
Yeah, it's like
but it's like mud globs.
it's like mud globs that start to drip on him, and it's just like
And he gets like caught in a web, and like this poor dude is just like panicking.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, come out of there.
and
like
then he just gets out, and he's just like, oh, yeah, just don't go in there.
He's like, yeah, just listen, just stay away from that.
And you know, they move in. Everything seems fine. Oh, the mom also. I mean, again, this is like the first 5 minutes of the movie. And the mom turns on the faucet in the kitchen, and it like
Blood flows out
flows out.
for a minute, and then normal water.
And then she's like, oh, it's nothing.
She just like thought it was nothing.
Again, this is the first 5 minutes of the movie. We're
And-
already like in it.
So they like get all settled in, and then is this the dinner scene where he hangs up the mirror? Yeah. So they get all settled in, and our dad is hanging up the mirror, and it's like on top of the buffet table thing, and he's like, well, what do you think? And like the mom's like, well, it looks like a happy family to me. And
Because it's like all of them framed.
yes,
That the camera's like pointed at the mirror, and they're all framed in it.
so they all sit down,
And the shot's still like lingering on the mirror.
and they all sit down, and it's like focusing on the mom now. And she's
she's
saying
like,
grace.
Yeah, she's saying grace, and it starts zooming in on her in the mirror.
And so they like she starts saying it, and then like an earthquake happens, or the whole house starts shaking, and like the mirror falls and like lays on top of something like
A bunch of stuff falls,
yeah, on top of like some cups and
and
stuff.
immediately like the dad
Starts like thinking it's the son's fault.
that he didn't like hit the like nail in properly or something, and then like the son yells at the dad, and everyone's just fucking
like screaming at
other.
each other.
But
And the mom's like, can't we have just one night where we don't fight?
the fucking like camera work in this
It's great.
is awesome.
There are a lot of like long single takes in this movie, and some camera work that I have no idea how they accomplished it.
Yeah, like there's just like POV shots, and because even earlier, when the mom was in the basement, there's like a POV of like something like coming out of the like that door.
They
and
do
it
it,
comes
like,
right up to her.
Whoever did the camera work, like at the very least, you got to commend them because they did a fantastic job. This movie looks really good.
Yeah.
And like it's one of those B movies that just has like incredible camera work.
Yeah, because the first one just kind of looked like a basic movie, but then you have this.
Right. Well, I'm sure there's like tracking shots and stuff in that, but this has like just some avant-garde shit. Like there's like a fucking one of the shots we'll talk about, like it like goes over the actor's head upside down and then flips around to like a normal frame, and I still like without showing any of the rigging.
Nothing. Yeah, you don't see anything.
There's no rigging in sight, and you're just like, I don't know how they did that. like
And this is like those old heavy cameras too.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then like, because even then there's like that scene where the mom's in the basement, and you see like a POV of something coming out of the door, and it walks right up to her back, and then like something like it, like something like touches her. And she tells us something like she felt like someone like grabbing her arm.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have that dinner scene. They argue, and
the dad like starts getting like really angry, and the kids are like, I can't remember exactly what happens, but like the kids are doing something, and
well, they calm down, and then
she says grace again.
Yeah, but they put the mirror like kind of like they just kind of tilt it.
Mm-hmm.
She's grace again, and everything is fine as can be. But then it's like that first night. Everyone's going to bed, and there's like a banging, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the dad comes down and like opens the door and thinks it's like ding dong ditchers.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ha, you think that's funny, huh?" And like it keeps happening, so he goes downstairs,
gets a gun and
gets a
comes
shotgun.
He's threatens them.
This is a shotgun. I'll use it on you. I see you.
And then in the meantime, you see something like pick up. Oh, there's also because when they go to sleep, you get that POV of the thing coming out of the basement.
Oh, that's
goes
right.
all the way up the stairs, and then it sees they have like the Jesus on the cross.
I don't know how they did this. It's so there's like a runner tablecloth on the in the frame, you have the crucifix with Jesus on it, and then like.
And it like stares at it.
It's on the wall,
yeah.
But in the frame, there's also like the table
that they had dinner
like
on.
the dinner table with like a running like tablecloth on it. And Lord, if I know how they fucking did this, but it like the tablecloth like literally like comes off the table, like none of the stuff on the table like knocks over.
Nothing happens. Yeah.
And it hangs over the crucifix and hides it.
It's perfect.
In the same shot.
In the same shot, yeah. There's no fancy camera work.
And again, you don't see any of the rigs. You don't see any like. I'm sure they had some like a pulley system that like took it and like put it there. I have no idea.
They did a great job of hiding it.
Yes, movie
but yeah,
magic.
it's just like we see this thing like moving around the house, and then the knocking starts. And
that's when he starts getting more and more pissed.
Because he walks outside with the gun, and there's no one there, and then you see the kids' room.
Oh, that's right. And then like
there's like paintbrushes.
And it starts to like draw on the wall.
And you see like, the paintbrushes get lifted up by like nothing and start drawing on the wall.
And then like stuff starts to shake and knock off the shelves.
Oh yeah, the kids' room just goes.
And like the mom and dad walk in and they see the drawing and it says
defy.
It says
disregard thy God, pigs.
Isn't it like disrespect thy father?
Yeah, pigs.
Yeah, disrespect thy father, and then pigs written everywhere, and it's a giant like weird like dog pig with like the mouth bleeding.
Yeah,
and then the dad's like, "What the hell did you do?" And they're like,
first like you think everything's like fine, but then he goes like to the other room, puts his gun down, then comes back, and then you see him like.
And the mom's like, "No, like they didn't."
Yeah, he's like unfastening his belt,
and like. You're like, holy shit. This is the first, 15 minutes of the movie. Like, we already have domestic abuse.
The way this is filmed is fantastic.
And, high tension in this family.
The way this is filmed.
And if you know anything about Amityville, which you should if you watched the first movie, this family is pretty prime for some evil shit about to happen to them.
Yeah, it's...
Because in the first movie, the dad is, kind of this, mild-mannered guy.
Yeah.
He's really nice. He's not the nicest guy ever, but he's not rude to his kids or anything.
There's nothing in the first one on this level.
Well, there's nothing sinister about him,
Yeah.
right? The dad in the first one.
Mm.
There's nothing inherently sinister about him at the beginning.
Yeah.
He becomes more and more sinister through the
Because
movie.
of shenanigans. But
Yeah.
in this, it's like no, they
But
move
it's like,
in.
no, this one, the dad is just straight up an asshole right
Yeah.
away.
It's like they're perfect for something to come in and disrupt
They're
it.
primed and ready for that like evil shit to happen to
Yeah.
him.
And honestly, I prefer that.
So, yeah, so he actually starts like laying into the kids because he thinks it's their fault for the painting.
And then
everything.
and then the mom tries to get him to stop, and
And then he's like slaps her around.
slaps her. She falls, and the way this is shot it's so good.
Yeah,
It's
because
so
it's
fucking
like
good.
one shot. It's following like every family.
It's all like
all, the
it's
whole
like
family.
handheld, and it follows them, and they keep like doing this thing where like the lights keep like flashing.
Well, and then daughter goes down and like tries to help the mom, and he pushes her out of the way, and then like the son like has had enough, so he goes and gets the shotgun.
See him, yeah, you see him like grabbing the gun, and he just like walks up to the dad,
and like puts it on his neck, and the dad's all like freaked out, right?
and he's got his finger on the trigger.
And then the I like this movie is just insane, like, and then the mom gets in between him and grabs the gun and like just like pulls it away, and she's like, "There's something wrong with us."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, no shit, like holy shit." And it's kind of interesting how we never got to see like their family dynamic before this house. Mm-mm. You just see them going like ape shit like in the first like 15 minutes of just moving in the first night.
Well, it's fine because you get the impression that it's already like there's instability there.
Well, and maybe this isn't like how they normally like act.
It's elevated.
Yes.
But it's just like it's perfect because it's like there's such a level of like instability that if there is like a thing in the house, they're perfect for it.
So the next day, the family goes to church, except for the dad. Mm-hmm. The dad chooses not to go to church, and I guess something about the mom talks to the priest,
asks him to come in and like
bless the house, just because she thinks there's some weird stuff going on. Mm-hmm. The son isn't feeling well, and like the daughter has been having weird like feelings.
Well, like because you had a scene before this where it's like the son going to bed, and the thing is like kind of following him around, and it's almost like
we also skipped the scene where we kind of get a dynamic of like how close the son and the daughter are.
Yeah.
It's just like a talking scene, but they're like just talking about how they have this like weird feeling about the house, and there was like something bad happened in this house, you know.
The daughter especially is like, I can tell, like, I feel like something bad happened to the people who lived here before.
Yeah, and there was like a girl that loved someone, but like, you know, and he
didn't love her back.
Yeah. And so anyway, she also mentions how like, is this where she mentions that like the parents' love life isn't great, or is that later?
That's later.
Okay.
That is during. That happens during the scene.
Mm. Yes, probably one of the most uncomfortable scenes I've watched in a very long time.
In a mainstream,
it is
horror film.
So uncomfortable, and I wanted to look away, and I was so skeezed out, but
they did it,
and we have to describe that, so that's great.
Oh, that's fine.
So anyway, yeah, she tells the priest to come because like some weird shit's been happening, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'll come over. And so he comes over, and the
dad's like annoyed.
The dad's immediately annoyed, and
he's like, why did you tell him to come here?
He's like, so I don't go to church, and you're just immediately gonna bring the church to me?
Yeah.
And
then
she's like, no, he's just blessing the house.
And then, you know, he's taking his stuff out. Everything seems fine.
Like the dad offers him a cigar. They seem cordial.
And then the dad's like, hey, go get the priest. He tells like the two young kids to get the priest some water. They go in the kitchen.
So they go in the kitchen. The little boy is like, "Oh, I'll help," and the little girl
takes
like
a bag.
puts a like plastic bag over the frickin' like little kid, and it's like, you're dead, ha, I got you." And even the little kid's like, "I can't breathe," and like, And she's like, oh, like, you wanted to take water. You want all the attention and everything. It's like, I'm like, why? This is some weird fucking shit going on in this house.
Foreshadowing? I don't know. But
I mean,
everything...
not for that exact thing,
No.
but foreshadowing for something about to come. So they get the glass of water.
All the fucking glassware.
Everything just
because the sun comes in.
Oh, and shakes the priest's hand.
And immediately...
And the house doesn't like that. So they like literally when they lock hands, like the house just fucking freaks out, and then the kitchen, like everything shatters and shakes and everything.
Yeah.
And the dad immediately goes in and starts like beating the children.
Yeah, and the priest sees this and is like, okay, this is not
like
this is not a
I'll
good
come
time.
back at a later date. Like I'm not here for this. Like, and he even says like you shouldn't hit your children.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't hit your daughter.
He goes away, and eventually the wife convinces the dad and all the kids to go to church that night.
Yeah, she's like,
the
we're going.
Only person who doesn't come.
The son.
Is the son.
Yeah, she's like, we're going, and we're going to apologize to him, or else I'm basically leaving.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave.
Like I can't put up with this anymore.
Yeah, like I'll leave.
Yeah.
So they go. Son stays home because he's been complaining constantly about how he's not feeling well.
This is like the movie's like mic drop moment.
This is the director's moment of showing off how cool they are.
How cool their special effects
How
team.
cool their fucking special effects team and their cameramen are. This is what this is.
So the entity, I guess I'm gonna call it the entity because I mean that's you don't see anything. It like goes up the stairs, and it's been following the son like the whole time, right? Ever since like the priest came over and everything. You get a couple shots where he's like just hanging out, and it's just like following him around. And so he like starts getting spooked out.
Here's a noise. There's also been like on and off where he's been listening to like headphones.
Yeah.
And the headphones like talk to him.
And then he goes downstairs and he opens that like the swinging door
because he hears like whispering.
Yeah. And he goes further inside than the mover did, and you see the two pillars and everything, and you see this weird ass like hand on the wall.
Yeah, with like blood coming out of it.
And it like starts like reaching for him, and like blood is like flowing out of it, and he gets freaked out, and then it starts like following him, and you can tell he's like he can see something.
Well, because it does this cool thing where like it comes up behind him, like the POV, and then he like turns around and looks at it, and it like, and then he's like looking at it terrified, but like walking backwards, and it's like just.
Oh, I forgot to mention when he was down there, he grabbed a rifle.
Yeah, he
thought someone was in the house.
He has a rifle with him the whole time.
And then he like starts getting freaked out. He gets like knocked down on the stairs and like starts like crawling backwards because he can see this thing coming towards him. Mm-hmm. And he goes back into his room and he like tries shooting it.
Well, before, because he walks around the house, you get the fucking that shot where he's like standing there, and the camera is behind him. Then it goes up.
Oh yeah, it goes up, and like I said, like just
up,
crazy camera up
over his head.
Over his head.
Points down at him.
Points at him upside down, and then adjusts right side up.
Right side up, yeah.
It is insane, and like I said, you can see zero rigging.
Yeah.
Like there's no rigging, and it's like a tight shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a tight over the head shot. I have no idea how they did it. I really have no idea.
And then it keeps following him. He goes in his room, and yeah, like he goes in his room, and like it's still following him around. And he shoots at this thing.
Yep. And then like
it grabs the rifle out of his hands
and like points it at him, and he gets all freaked out and like lays back on his bed.
And then yeah, we get like the shot where like it's like above him, like pointing down, and he like looks up and like falls back on the bed.
And then it like rushes him, and he starts screaming, and then it like comes back up.
And then it changes to like a green and purple lighting.
It's kind of interesting how they did this because this is the possession scene.
Yeah.
Every time he breathes out, it like pushes the spirit up.
Yeah.
And then every time he breathes in, it like brings the spirit back down.
Well, plus like every time, and it's all like POV.
So it's supposed to be like symbolic of like this thing is like possessing him.
Yeah.
Like by every breath he takes. And then his like
Plus,
stomach
like,
gets all super indented.
every time the camera like goes up, comes down, and then comes back up, it's like each time he looks more like deformed.
Yeah.
Almost.
And like you can see something like bubbling on his like neck.
Well, because he's like eventually he's like laying there, and it's like you can guess in your head that he's possessed. But he's laying there and he sees a mirror. He walks up to it, and the whole scene's like bathed in green.
He looks like a fucking zombie.
He does. There's like a big like bulge in his neck, and then he looks and there's like a bulge coming out the back of his head. His skin's all like cracked.
One like his veins are like pulsating like outward.
It's awesome.
It's really fucking wild. It's one of the coolest like possession scenes I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I have not seen anything like that.
And if you thought the movie was fucking wild from this point on, once he gets possessed, it's all bets are off on like this movie being a normal movie anymore.
Well, he goes. Well, they come home.
They've been home for a while, and he had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes into the daughter's, like his sister's room,
And we get the demon POV that goes in there.
and then like walks up to her, and she's like, "Yeah, we've been home for a couple hours. Like we didn't know where you were." So and he's like, "You know, you really are beautiful." And I'm like, "Oh,
This is the scene where she talks about
And then she's like, "I think I'm worried about mom and dad. I think dad forces mom to make love to him."
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, this is some like wild adult shit that they're talking about right now. But
yeah, and he's like, he starts telling her like all this, yeah, like you really are beautiful and all this stuff.
He's like, I think you're the most beautiful. I think you might be the most beautiful girl in the world. And you think it's like really creepy, but
you don't know.
You're like, maybe
you don't know where it's going.
Maybe it's just like some weird stuff they're talking. I don't know. You have no idea where it's going because it's just fucking creepy. Like, why would you ever fucking ask your sister that at all, or say that to your sister?
And then he tells her like you could be
because you could be the most beautiful if you take off your.
Well, because he tells her to like he's like
I just don't like even
lay on the bed.
I don't even like.
And then he's like, pretend I'm a photographer.
I don't. And she like starts I'm getting more and more uncomfortable even describing this shit.
She's like, she starts posing, and then he's
God.
like, because he says like, you might be the most beautiful.
She's like, oh, might be like what I have to do, and he's like, take off your like your nightie.
And she's like, okay, like, but I'll be quick. And she takes it off, and he's like, yeah, you're definitely the most beautiful.
Lift up your hair. You have such a nice neck, and I'm just like.
And then she's like about to like put on her clothes.
Oh.
You watched Game of Thrones, well, is this
This is worse. This is worse. I don't know.
Well,
dude.
this does stick the landing more, doesn't it?
I think it's the fact that they're like teenagers. Like that makes it like
supposed to be teenagers.
Infinitely worse. Like,
well, it's not. I mean, I won't talk about Game of Thrones, but yeah, she's about to put on her clothes, and he's like, "No, don't." And then he shows her. He's got her underwear.
And he's like,
where did you get that?
I took it from the laundry.
And then he like basically forces himself on her.
He like kisses her.
And then the next scene is
her confessing to the priest that like
she did something dirty.
She went all the way with a friend.
And the guy's like, well, like
if you love him, you have to. And she's like, oh, I don't.
It's not for love. He's like, is it just like sexual pleasure? And she's like, no.
He does it to disgrace God or something like that.
He does it to hurt. He's like, hurt who?
Hurt God.
To hurt God? Fuck.
This movie.
Can I just say? I cannot believe that I watched a mainstream studio-produced horror film push that line.
Yeah. That's a line that, like, even modern movies don't go.
No, and I'm...
Like, incest is not where any movie goes a lot.
But I'm glad they did, because
I mean, it's
insane.
It's bold. I will say that I was very uncomfortable.
It is bold, and plus, like, if you want to do something new as far as like demonic possession,
and I know horror movies are supposed to do this, but I was extremely disturbed, even though it wasn't like a horror scene. It was disturbing.
Technically, it was a horror scene.
It's very disturbing. It's incredibly disturbing to watch that.
Technically, it is a horror scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very new take on demonic possession.
Yes.
And I get it. They were just like, hey, what's something demonic possession
movies
haven't done?
They're like, what would a demon do? A demon would do some pretty evil shit, right?
Yeah.
Like some very evil shit.
It would fuck its whole family up.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, that was their thinking, and they pulled it off.
So, after that, they're having a birthday party for the son.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he's...
The priest...
Oh, he comes in to bless the house. That's right.
For
Sorry,
real this time.
My bad. The son's birthday comes after this.
Yeah.
Because they mention that, like, because the priest mentions that there's...
Because he gets invited to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is the next scene.
Yeah.
So never mind. So anyway, this is the blessing of the house scene, which is wild in itself.
Yes.
So he's like blessing the house and everything, and he's like going through each of the rooms, and he goes up into the mom's like, well, the son, like, my son is here, but he's upstairs. He hasn't been feeling well. He's like kind of like been by himself like the whole time.
He doesn't want to come to church, doesn't want to do anything.
He's like, okay, well, he's like, I can leave him alone. And she's like, no, I'd rather you like go bless and like try and talk to him. And like, so he like blesses the upstairs, and he goes and talks to the son.
Well, don't forget, first time he sees the son, he's just like standing in the doorway, and the door just fucking shuts.
Yeah, there's like wind blowing, and he's like giving this like menacing
Yeah.
stare to the priest. And so the priest finishes blessing the other room, and then walks into the son's room, and you can see the son is like visibly uncomfortable with the priest being there.
He keeps like rubbing his neck, and you see like there's a red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he's possessed.
He's fucking possessed.
So the priest tries to talk to him, and he's like, if you need anything, like, you can just always talk to me, always reach out, and everything.
He's like, no, I just want to be left alone.
And so he's like, okay, well, let me finish this. He like blesses the room.
Goes downstairs,
and the mom is like, can you bless my room? And he's like, yeah. And so he blesses the room, and she's like, can you bless the bed? And he's like, yeah. And so he like shakes the thing, and the mom just freaks the fuck out. And you're like, why is she freaking? And then you see like blood all over the priest's hands
and on the floor, and there's
on
blood
like the
pouring
little
out
like
of the
shaker thing.
Yeah, it's pouring out of it.
And he like goes in the bathroom and vomits in the sink, and like starts like trying to put water in his mouth with like all this blood everywhere. And then he goes out, and he like doesn't see any blood, and there's no blood on the floor, and you just see the son it just
on
cuts,
his bed.
It just cuts to the son laughing on his bed.
And he's like, and it's like an upside down shot of his face, fitting. And the priest goes to his car, and you saw earlier in the scene when he parks his car, and the camera just kind of pans over to like his he's got like a prayer book in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And then when he walks back outside, the door is open.
It's all torn up, and like paper is like the pages of that book are all over the car and like flowing out of the car.
And then you just see like he looks at the house, and the blue light in the top of the son's room upstairs is on. But there's also like all sorts of like there's constant scenes of like the son hearing like voices.
Like it always talks to him and is like saying like, don't let the priest near you. Like he's not a good.
Like you have to kill. Basically telling him to like kill his family, that they're all pigs and all this stuff.
Yeah, they all deserve to die, is what it keeps saying.
But then, they're doing his birthday.
Yeah, so we should say the priest goes back to the church, and then he kind of probes the daughter to like answer more questions about her confession. Mm. And it's like, well, you need you need to confess more. I think you need to get this off your chest.
You haven't been to confession in all this time?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, no, it's nothing.
She's like, will you come to like my brother's birthday? And he's like, no, I have to work on this. You can clearly tell he's avoiding the
plus,
situation.
like, at this point, he's also been trying to, he's been considering, like, a possible exorcism.
Yeah, because he obviously because he got
Something's
like really fucking freaked out
Yes.
by the blood thing. As you would, you know. I think that would freak anyone out. Um, so he knows some weird shit's going on, so he's gonna go get approval to do an exorcism.
Yeah.
By someone else because he's not authorized to do them.
And then that person's just like, like you're being rash.
He's like, we don't even know. It could be anything. Like this.
It could
this
be
is
a
probably
logical
not
explanation,
possession. Yeah. And so now we get the kid's birthday, and so, oh my god, it's ooh,
Seems
so
great.
awkward. So like
Seems great.
the sun comes down because
And it's all again one take.
Yeah, the sun comes down and
he tries blowing out the candle.
And it won't it won't go out. It's a trick candle, and like the little girl says, "It's magic," and he's like, "Were you up to this?" He picks the little boy up,
And like hugs him, kisses him,
and then like picks the little girl up, and then like hugs her and kisses her, and then he like
hugs his mom,
and then it's weird. He goes to the daughter,
and then like you can tell like
they hug,
but you can tell she's uncomfortable.
He's like caressing her,
and the mom
notices
something's up, and then he goes over to the dad,
and the dad is like,
and they're kind of like there's kind of like tension there, but then they hug, they embrace, and then the dad goes to the other side of the table, and the family just like stands there, all like perfect, the perfect American family. And he's just standing there, like, grinning at them, and you hear the fucking voice, like, look at them. They look pathetic. Like, kill them.
Look at them. They all deserve to die. And I honestly think, like, after watching this movie, this was, like... I'll explain after. Sorry. I have a theory about why they did the way they did. So, but I'll explain after, because, like, it kind of pertains to the end of the movie, too.
Okay.
So, I'll just... Side note for that one. We'll sidebar that one for a minute.
But yeah, then there's like more guests show up,
and the son just like is totally disconnected at that point.
Yeah, you get like another like long take of him like making his way through the crowd, and then he goes upstairs to his room. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just having a barbecue and having fun, and the daughter's outside, and then she like looks up to the window, and you just see him there like
looking out.
He's in like a trance. She goes upstairs. And it's like, you called me? He's like, no.
It's like, you were calling to me. Like, we need to talk about, like what happened.
What's been going on?
And she's like, I don't even think you want to talk to me. Like, it's weird because she's like, I don't know, like, she's like confused about everything. Like, she
no
doesn't...
shit.
I mean, obviously, because, like, how would you process that?
Yeah.
Like, that whole fucking situation. I don't even want to imagine processing that situation.
Well, the implication I'm getting is that it happened more than once also. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's like, I don't understand what you're doing. And then, like, you won't even talk to me. And then he just tells her, like, get out of here.
When you can tell his, like, face is getting more and more fucked up. And
half of his face is like...
He's like, get out of here, bitch. Like, getting, like, rid of her. And I think it's, like... Again, I have a theory, so we'll get to it. But...
Okay. She's running downstairs, and then the mom, like, intercepts her on the stairway and confronts her. It's like, what did you do to him?
She's like, what'd you do? Like, totally blaming her for the whole thing. So this family is, like...
It's coming apart.
Like, royally fucked.
It's coming apart at the seams.
So, because now the mom is blaming the daughter for doing what she did with the son.
Yes.
And is saying it's all her fault, not the son's fault.
Yes.
So she's blaming the daughter, which was totally innocent, and isn't blaming the son. Mm-hmm. So, God, I just...
and then it's like, night's coming.
Yes.
The daughter is, it's night's coming, the daughter tries to call the priest.
Yeah, and the priest is going on, like, a camping trip with another priest. And he's about to answer the phone, and he's like, maybe I should answer that. And the other priest is like, well, good idea. And like he picks up the phone and like sets it on the receiver so that like no calls can come through. And so because the daughter was gonna tell the rest of the confession and say there's something wrong.
He's gonna do something.
There's something wrong with the son.
That she thinks he's gonna do something.
Mm-hmm. And so she hangs up the phone and. you know, the mom is like more accusatory of her now, and this is where they all like kind of try and go to bed, but the son is still.
Well, the son is like in his room, and then you just get that insane fucking like 360.
Like, oh yeah, no, it's like it's whirling around the room, and it's like empty, 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 and then it stops on him like fully possessed
with a fucking demon face. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a gun now.
And the daughter's like, she's like outside of the parents' room, she's like probably trying to talk to them, but then like she just like, you know, stands there and you can hear them arguing.
Well, and like you can hear the dad trying to like get the mom to like, you know, get into the mood, and he's like, I don't understand why you never want to anymore. And like
don't
all this
even
stuff.
Love me anymore and all this stuff.
You will hardly even look at me, and they're just like arguing. And she looks up and she sees the son load a bullet into the rifle, and you're just like, fuck. Like,
and at this point, I did not know what they were gonna do.
There's still like a good like 40 minutes left of this movie.
Yeah.
So like
I was like, I don't know what
I
they're
have
gonna do.
no idea where they're going. At this point, so like she looks up and she hides behind like the cabinet, and the son like slowly walks down, and you see him like walk across like past her, and into the opposite door leading into the master bedroom again, and then you see the dad like taking a drink of something, and he sets it down, and then you just hear a gunshot,
and you see it. You see like the son shooting the dad and like fucking blood squib and everything. And then, like, you know, the daughter's all freaking out. Then you see, like, the mom, like, get out of the room and, like, clutch at her, like, chest. And she just falls down and is, like, bleeding. And then, like, the door across from there opens.
And the little
daughter, like, looking at her mom, bleeding to death. And at this point, I'm just like, we doing this. We're really doing this.
Yeah, so if you thought, like, maybe the first Amityville like movie was like, oh well, you know, he didn't go insane and kill his whole family. Well,
and nothing happened.
You know, in this movie they were like, you know what if we did do that? Like, what if we did show all that? It's pretty horrific
what
to
if
watch.
We had all that in the movie? Yeah.
And so the son, the possessed son, now goes into the little kid's room and like shoots the little girl.
Yeah, you see her, like, legs.
Luckily, they don't show any, like, on-screen, but, like, because I would be I'm already uncomfortable with it. I'd be like, nah. Like, I'd be like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need to see, like, on-screen, like, children.
I'm almost,
like,
almost shocked that they didn't.
I'm surprised they didn't, but I'm really glad they didn't because I would be, like, high-key uncomfortable. Like, I'd be, like, high-key, like, this, I'm good. I don't want to watch this. There's certain things I just don't want to watch in a movie.
They should have gone there. That would have been the final taboo break.
Hey, I don't think I could have taken it.
For a studio
to be honest,
horror
I've already dealt with enough in this movie. I don't think I could deal with that. I really don't. I mean, it's bad enough that like the implication is already there. Like he did it.
You don't need implication. You see the legs.
Yep, and then he like
the kid runs away.
The little boy runs away and like runs downstairs, and like the daughter is like trying to like get him to hide.
And she's trying to break the windows open, and none of them are breaking. Like they're just locked in the house.
Yep, and then he appears behind the little boy, and you just hear a gunshot, and then he goes into the room with the like the daughter. And she tries to, like, plead for her life, and he, like... Oh, no, she tries to run up the stairs and, like, trips. And, like...
That she does try to plead for her life, yeah?
She pleads for her life, and he's, like, pointing the barrel out, and he's, like, dragging it down her body, and you just hear a gunshot again.
Yeah, and then the priest wakes up.
And the other priest is like, you're just having a bad dream. I don't know what it was. And he's like, I think something horrible has happened.
Something horrible has happened, yeah. They drive there, and there's, like, cops outside the...
with
house.
Body bags. So he like blesses each of the bodies coming out of the house.
The dead kids, the dead daughter, and then you just see the son, And he's like, I don't remember anything.
It's like, I don't remember doing it. He's like distraught and everything. And he's like, I don't remember doing this.
And this is where we were like, hey, it's The Conjuring.
Yeah, The Conjuring 3. This is where they go full Conjuring.
Because it
The
is
devil-
that. Like,
the-
they
they even say the line, "The devil made me do it."
Yeah, there's a court scene where they have a lawyer with the sickest mustache I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And then he starts telling him, and the judge is just like, listen.
It's like, listen, if I put this through, then like anyone can come in here and say the devil made me do it and get off scot-free.
And get off scot-free, yeah. And like at this point, the priest is still arguing for his exorcism.
Well, he's like trying to convince like the main detective that's booking the son. He's trying to convince the courts. He's trying to convince everyone that this needs an exorcism. I need to save this kid.
Everyone's turning him down.
And he like even interviews the kid in like the right after like the family's murdered, and like puts like a cross to him, and the kid like reacts really bad, and you see like his demon eyes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like the priest is like, he knows like this has to happen. Like this kid is gonna die.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I mean at that point, if you killed your entire family, like I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know that. I mean it'd be a struggle.
It's a struggle, but you know what? It's a movie.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so I can tell my theory at this point. I think that scene where he was like hugging everyone except for like we got all weird with the daughter. I think that was him like saying goodbye to them. Because I think that was like it was actually him, not the demon. And he was like had that like last conscious thing because he knew like what was gonna happen. So he was like,
that's fair.
He like wanted one last, like.
Well, because in that scene you don't see like the, demon makeup, or anything. It's just him, as he normally is.
Right, and he seems like more chipper than usual, so he's not possessed by the demon until he hugs his sister, and then it gets all weird.
And then he looks at his family, and then the demon starts talking to him again.
And then he gets all dejected and
walks
upstairs. And that's when the demon is like, yep, kill them all.
And starts turning into the fucking...
So that was my theory, though. That's like why he... And that's why he also like said, like, go away, stupid bitch. Because that was like him trying to like save her at like...
Well, because, I mean, maybe the demon was calling her to...
Do
the freaky.
Ugh.
And he was just like, no.
He's like, no. Like,
he's struggling against it.
Yeah. That's why he called her that and everything.
But yeah, the priest, like, you see him, like, you see the fucking demon thing come out and, like, all this stuff. And eventually, after they, like, go to court, he, like, passes out. They take him to the hospital.
And they're, like, trying to, like, they're going to do electroshock therapy. And the priest is like, you got to let me, like, figure, like do an exorcism. Him. Like, he's, like, trying to convince the detective. And the detective has seen enough that he's like, okay, like, this guy is probably onto something. He's like, okay, take this gun, knock me out, and then, like, take him where you need to take him, and then get this figured out.
And they go to the church.
He tries to get the son into the church, and the son ain't having it. He is like, out. No. And, like, the priest tries to chase after him, and, like, a wall of fire, like blocks him.
Yeah, just blocks him
momentarily. And then it goes away, and, like, he knows exactly where... You know exactly where he's going.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
And that's... Yeah, he goes to the house, and at this... Like, every door is locked, except for, like, the... Kind of like the cellar
door.
He goes down, and the fucking portal to hell or whatever is open.
When you see all these, like, weird, like, shambling, like ghosts, like, coming out, like, starting to come out of it.
The walls start bleeding.
Like, there's blood all over the floor, like, it's filling up with blood again, like it did in the... I don't remember if it did in the original, but in the remake, it definitely did. Where, like, the whole basement filled up with blood.
I don't know. I don't know if that happened in the original.
Honestly. I know there was, like,
there's bleeding. A pig in the window.
I know there's bleeding walls in the original, but I don't think there was, like, a basement full of blood.
Maybe.
And there's not in this one either. It just flows out, and he kind of stops the spirits from coming out of the demon hole.
And he goes upstairs.
I don't know what to call it. It's like a portal.
It is a demon
It's
hole.
like it's literally like a portal to hell, and that's a demon hole.
It's a demon hole.
It's a demon hole.
It's like it's it's like people. Some people like glory holes. Some people like demon holes.
Demons really love demon holes.
Demon loves demon holes. You open if your house has a demon hole, don't stick your dick in it.
Yeah.
Bad things. But he goes upstairs and like the house, like there's fucking wind and rain and all inside the house. He goes upstairs.
And you see like a quick thing of like the other priest comes to the church, sees the priest's car, and knows where they're going. So he's going to the Amityville house as well.
And like as the priest is like walking up there and doing his prayer, like, where there's like windows
Shuddering and like everything going insane.
like a board from the ceiling falls down. He walks in the room, and the kid just like possessed by a demon like jumps him.
Well, no, he's like on the ceiling.
Yeah, he's like spider walking.
Flies down like all like like Pet Cemetery. Like that scene where the guy's like pulling down the attic thing, and the kid just flies at him. That's what it looks like. So,
and he starts doing his prayer, and the kid like ambles on into the corner, and then the priest is like, say like, what's your name? Like, say your name, and then
it turns into the daughter.
The daughter,
and she's like,
like,
my name.
And she's all like, got like very
like heavy makeup,
extra makeup,
and she's
like when I was
confessing,
you wanted me.
You thought about having sex with me and everything. I was just like, oh.
And the priest is just
boy.
like, no. Maybe he did, because of how this ends.
He does kind of hesitate, so I'm wondering if maybe
the implication in the movie might be that he wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
Because we'll get there.
So he continues to try and do the exorcism, and like while this is happening, the kid's face is just bulging and like doing all this like cracking shit.
Well, then on like it's like the demon talking to him, and he's like, "You're all alone. Like you couldn't even get the church to approve this for you. Like you're weak and all this stuff."
And then, like the demon like pulls off the like kid's face.
Well, because he starts telling him like you have to, like he starts talking to the kid like you have to fight, you have to release this thing, you have to want to fight back, and that's when it starts like he's fucking
it's like shedding the human skin
off the demon, and that's when the priest is like,
and the demon like it's pretty good effects.
It's great effects.
It like looks fucking grotesque.
It is fantastic effects,
and it like tears off the skin, and you see this like fucking demon underneath, and
the priest is just like, no, like
take me,
like do it to me instead, like leave him alone.
This is where the this whole scene is like from like the medical center on, heavy exorcism, like exorcist vibes.
And then the kid's fine. He does a fucking T-pose.
He like rises up.
Everything's fine. His the other priest shows up and sees the kid, and he sees the priest is just like sitting in the corner, and the priest is just like, take him, like, get out of here.
So they go away, and the priest is just sitting there, and like you see like his wrists start bulging, and then you see like veins on his like side of his neck start bulging, and he like just is sitting there like horrified.
He's just like, God, don't forsake me.
Yep. And then like the door closes, and then you just get a shot of the house, and it's for sale again.
Yeah.
And then end movie.
End Kino.
And I think you're right. I think the priest was too weak, and I think
that's the implication.
I think he did do that because he did hesitate
when she said that.
Yeah. So I think he had those impure thoughts.
He had impure thoughts, and he couldn't get the church to support him.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, he still saved him, but at the cost of his own soul.
I'm glad they didn't do like a total like exorcist kind of thing where the priest like sacrifices himself at the end, like kills himself, because that would have been a little too on the nose.
Yeah, too on the nose.
Because they did try and do the whole like power of Christ compels you thing like over and over again, but it was like
not really.
Well, so they tried, but it wasn't like power of Christ compels you. He said like God something.
Yeah.
And he like said a bunch of stuff like repeating over and over again.
To be fair, the exorcism scene in like The Exorcist was like like a 30-minute fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like 5 minutes.
It's true.
Because this thing just...
It's not like I'm not saying it's a complete ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying they you can tell it was like definitely like inspired by it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it still was really effective. I thought it was really well done. I thought the camera work was fucking awesome. Like the cinematography is great.
Acting's good.
Lalo Schifrin did the
music,
soundtrack, which if you don't know him, go look up his work. You'll know him if you look him up.
The weird like children chanting.
It's a really effective soundtrack. I think Lalo Schifrin does really well on any movie he's working on. He's like one of my favorite composers, to be honest. And like, I don't know, like there's just so much to love about this movie, and it's very uncomfortable at times. Pretty much the whole movie. But
For
like
a sequel.
But I mean, to be honest, that's what horror's about. So it's like, I can get how people wouldn't like this movie because of the subject matters in it. Like I get that. But for me, I think like that's the intention, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be made uncomfortable, and this is a demon doing stuff, and a demon, if you believe in them or not, a demon would probably do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It would do some evil shit to like just destroy a family and like just ruin everyone's reputation and pride and ego and like everything. It was breaking this kid down, and that's like a good way to do it.
This is way better than the first one.
It is. I actually like. It's like one of the first times in existence that I had no idea this sequel existed to the original one.
Yes.
Right? And it is actually better than the original one.
It's way more horrifying.
I would say it's like a million times more like scary. Like it's because the implications, it's creepy, it's just uncomfortable to watch.
It earns that R rating.
And it's a good horror movie because it just does everything pretty well, and they weren't afraid to push boundaries.
No, there's some. They're not afraid to break taboos with this thing.
And they did a lot, and it's very uncomfortable.
And I've never seen that before or since.
So yeah, like I don't know if you liked the first one and were more interested in like the mythos behind it. Like this is a good way to do it, but also understand this is way more extreme than the first one.
Which is shocking.
It's shockingly like shock. It's oh god. It's just I don't even know how to describe it. You gotta watch it. Like you have to. Like, watch it for yourself.
You have to experience it.
I hope at this point you have watched it and I hope you agree that it is better than the original. And if you like this kind of like shock value horror, it's a really good way to go.
If you just want to see some like possession, creepy house movie doing stuff that you've never seen before, you have to watch this.
And the effects are good. Like I don't know. It's just a good movie.
The effects, it's got like those classic 80s practical effects, like makeup and all that shit. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. So, shitty to pretty, what would we give? I mean, dude, like, is this even? Why even is it 10 for me?
It's a 10.
Like it's a 10. It's like,
I'm not even gonna lie. I love this thing. I am a fanboy of this insane thing. Like, this went places I was not expecting it to go. And for a sequel, because usually like sequels, they tend to be like kind of derivative, and it's just like, oh, it's the same thing again but worse. Like, that's usually what you get with sequels. Not with this. With this one, it was just like, hey, let's make a sequel and let's make it more like let's make it even less friendly to mass audiences.
Well, yeah, it's very uncomfortable, especially for like you said, like a mass studio. It's MGM.
Yeah.
The fact that this even got off the floor was with that script. That fucking 80s were a different time, man. I'm just saying, like that would never fly in today's like you could unless it's like a
indie
unless
film.
You did like a high concept like A24
That's
kind of thing.
That's the only way, yeah. is if it was like an
if it was
A24 film.
like an A24 like indie film, you could do it. But a mainstream high budget like studio movie,
Yeah.
hell no. They would never. No one would ever accept that script. Everyone would be like, "You fucking crazy? No, we're not doing this.
This is too much."
Like, this is way too much."
But then,
And it honestly, like, to be fair, like the Amityville franchise it survived. Like, it's not like it's dead.
it's somehow.
I don't know how it survived because, like, honestly, none of the movies are that great. This is probably my favorite out of all the ones I've watched.
Well, here's the thing. Well, we will have.
If there is a good one, please suggest it because I want to watch a good, like, because I like the first one.
Yeah.
I really love this one, but I don't really love any of the other ones I have watched.
I've seen the first one. I've seen the remake, and they're meh.
I saw one other one. It was like The Haunting of Amityville or something like that. I can't remember the names. There's so many. But I've seen a few. But if there's good ones, please suggest them. Like,
especially as good as this.
Because I want to see good Amity. I think the story is interesting, and I want to see good Amityville. I know, like, the based on true story is like total bullshit.
Well, obviously, especially at this point, there's a billion of these fucking movies.
But I just want to see good Amityville shit. But we have an important job to do now. We are the end of 82, my boy. And boy, this is gonna be hard. This is.
Well, let's start with what might be easy.
You want to start with the worst of the worst?
Worst of the worst. What you got? Because I think I know mine.
Yeah.
I think I know mine. I don't know if it's like really the worst, but
I don't know. I didn't
in
like.
my heart of hearts, it was the worst.
Honestly, this year there wasn't like any that I like absolutely like hated. Right?
There was no Final Exam.
There's no movie that like we can both agree that was like just like fucking awful. I think I don't know. I think one of mine's. I think Murder by Phone was
for worst.
No, I don't know. It's
because I know my worst. I almost fucking fell asleep.
I think The Walker is really boring.
Oh, Time Walker?
Yeah.
Time Walker was... It's fine. It was a special.
So what's yours? I'll probably agree with you, but...
Unhinged.
Okay.
Because nothing fucking happened, Will.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I was forgetting Unhinged. You're right. I was trying to, like...
Taco Bell... Taco Time and Titties. See,
that's why I forgot. Taco Time and Titties. I forgot, like... That's how boring this movie is. I literally like kept skipping it while looking at our like episode list and being like, "What the fuck is Unhinged?" Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, because two girls go on a drive in the woods. They crash their car, and then they're in a mansion, and then movie. That's the movie.
Yeah, nothing happens.
And then people die awkwardly, and then there's a big twisteroonie at the end, and it's awkward and horrible. And that's the movie.
Yeah.
It was just boring. Like, it was just boring. Here's my thing is, like, if I'm watching a movie and the director has a vision, even if it's shit, I can appreciate it. But if it's just boring...
Yeah.
No.
So, what would be your best of the worst?
Oh, so is Unhinged your worst of the worst?
Yeah,
okay.
Because that's the one I kept trying to think of, like, which movie... I remember there was like a boring one, right?
That was
like
the one.
Like one where nothing happened, and I was like, "What was that movie?" I can't remember because that's why I was like trying to like, that's why I was trying to probe it. I was like, maybe it's Murder by Phone. Nope, that wasn't it. And because you were like Murder by Phone for worst, I'm like, that definitely wasn't the one I was thinking of then.
Well, plus like, because like Night Beast was bad, but still, there's things that happen in Night Beast. It wasn't as boring.
That's true. Unhinged. Yeah.
Best of the worst?
Best of the worst, it's hard because I love Extra.
I mean, Extra was fun.
It was...
But worst?
Best of the worst. I have to either go with, like, Aftermath, Kill Squad, Ninja Strikes Back, or Dragon Force, and I'm trying to figure out which one of those. Because they're both...
I would have to go with Dragon Force because that was so stupid.
Dragon Force was dumb. So was Ninja Strikes Back, to be fair.
They were both dumb. Ninja Strikes Back was dumb. Like the smuttiest. Ninja Strikes Back was the one where it was just like boobs every 5 minutes.
And I can't give Aftermath too much shit because it was fucking wild. That is like some high concept action uncle like
That was some
bullshit.
action uncle shit. Whereas, yeah, it has to be Dragon Force because Dragon Force was the one that had remember, fucking great Fire Company.
Even Kill Squad, I live for that shit. So
I almost
can't
picked
give that
Kill
shit.
Squad, but I decided that it's just not stupid enough.
I wouldn't lie about 3,000 centipedes. God. Jesus
Hey man,
Christ.
it's no joke. I wouldn't lie to you about 3,000
I love
centipedes.
how stupid Kill Squad is because he just recruits this giant squad just like by
just-
saying his name.
It's just like, he finds these people, they get in a fight, and then he's like, "Want to join me?" Yeah. Okay. Next scene, he finds another guy. He's fighting. Want to join me?
Yeah.
And then he gets all of his crew together, and then they're looking for the goons, and
And
then
then
they
he
have a
just-
fight, and then a sniper
Just
kills
takes out all of them
And
one
then-
by one.
and then they move on to the next fight scene where they're trying to get information, and again, sniper kills another one, and it's just like the team grows, and then they whittle down,
But like,
and then it's a stupid twist at the end.
I was about to say Ninja Strikes Back because of how many uncle extras they had. Because
Oh, they
bunch-
beat up so many uncles.
a bunch of uncles get their asses handed to them. like
Those
it's
actual uncles.
so many.
It was our man Bruce Lee.
Just
Beating up
fucking
uncles.
beats the shit out of like every uncle he sees. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Dragon Force takes it. I
Fucking
think
great Flower Company.
For best of the worst, it was so stupid.
It did have one moment of brilliance. It had that ninja fight
Yes.
where it was like doing the weird like cutting, where it was like the guy was fighting like an invincible ninja, and it would like cut to where like the ninja would like pop in. Remember?
Yeah.
Like that was well done.
Yeah.
But then you watch the
it
rest
was
of the
really
movie,
cool.
and then it's just like he just gave like
Is that the one where like the ninja was flying through the air and like got his like head cut off? Or
yes.
Oh yeah,
It
Dragon
was
Force.
also the one where he like has to join like the secret organization of ninjas, and it's
Yeah.
like a stupid like challenge he has to do. He does it in like a minute. I think he's in. Oh, special.
I'm just remembering some of those like the highlights, like the Chillimpiad of slasher films.
Oh, the
Fucking-
forest,
The forest.
the Chillimpiad dad.
Fuck. Oh god. Now comes the hardest part for me, at least. Like there was so many fucking good movies in 1982. Like
This is a
as far as
struggle.
this list, because there's so many good ones. Like The Beast Within was fucking awesome.
Beast Within was awesome.
Like I loved Superstition.
Superstition was
Like
awesome.
The Slayer was great. Like
This.
Alone in the Dark was good. Like this. Like how do I choose?
I know mine. I think I know. Just it's hard.
It is hard.
It's one of those things, though, where I was just like-
I'll let you go while I decide, but I'm struggling because, like, The Sender was fucking awesome. Like, I'm trying to think because it's like I want to maybe go off like how like unique shit.
I'm trying to go off of what did like I personally think like just where every bit of the film was perfect. 10 out of 10. Where it's just like I could show this to somebody else and be like, here you go.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's hard because like you said, Beast Within, I loved Beast Within. I loved this. Like Amityville 2. This came close. I'm not even gonna lie. This thing came close.
I will admit The Beast Within is not for everyone. So if you're doing it by like if you could show that to anyone, because Beast Within is mean.
But if you can handle that,
It is mean. It's gritty. It's dirty.
but it's awesome.
It's great, but like, it is not for everyone.
No. I am not gonna lie. Amityville 2 came close.
It did for me too. Honestly, I was thinking about adding it.
because this was like I fanboyed over this
This
thing.
is phenomenal, actually.
But Next of Kin,
Next of Kin is fucking awesome.
because it's got that like Stanley Kubrick shining cinematography. It's like a slow burn that turns into like just explosive madness at the end. I mean, the movie ends with a man getting his head blown off with a shotgun. And then, like, a building explodes. Like, I
would say, like, honestly, I was thinking about it, like, it's either The Cinder or Next of Kin for me, too. Because, like, Next of Kin, like, I still think about it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
The part where she's, like, running down the hallway and it's, like, the camera's, like, rigged at the ceiling and it's, like, following her down the stairs. Or the part where she sees, like, the dead body of the guy and he's, like, in the wheelchair and and they just fucking launch the wheelchair at the camera and his body, like, fly. Like, that is cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the kind of cool shit that I
still love The Cinder, though, because, like, when they do that, like I was even mentioning it, like, the electric shock therapy scene where they hook it up and then just, like slow-mo just fucking sends all of them through the fucking, like, to the walls. And
the guy, everyone's, like, fucking through the window. The other, like, patients or whatever. Like, the one guy, he, like, starts seeing that he's, like, still in, like, Vietnam. The other guy, like, his, like, neck starts bleeding. Yeah. Plus, the Cinder was just, like, high concept.
Oh, very. Yeah.
Like, a guy who, like, makes you, like, experience his dreams and nightmares.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And I loved it.
It's been a good year.
It has been a very, very good year.
Like, we've had some good ones, and I'm glad. I'm glad we're in the 80s. I have most of 82 lined up. There are some films that look deeply special, and I'm using special in, like, a positive way.
I don't know,
and a negative way.
82 has been really good to us because usually there's that one movie that we just cannot stand, and honestly,
we kind of had it. Unhinged.
I mean, Unhinged, yeah.
I will say it still wasn't as bad as Final Exam.
If someone wanted to watch it, I probably still wouldn't be like, oh, I'm never going to watch that. Like, Final Exam, if you told me that you wanted to watch Final Exam again, I'd tell you go fuck yourself because I'm not watching that bullshit again.
Once was enough.
Like, Unhinged, I could probably watch again. I probably wouldn't enjoy it, but I'd
probably sit through it.
I could probably sit through it again. Like, I could probably stomach it again. But there's, like, other years where, like, literally there's that one movie that we just fucking hate. Like, it just, like, cannot stand. And so, like, Unhinged didn't come that close to it.
Savage Water. Well, Savage Water, the cover proudly said it had the greatest water action since Deliverance.
That is a bold statement. That is a very, very bold statement because I know there's adventure films that have like water, like high seas, like water action. So I don't think they can make that claim.
Well, they tried. Well,
they did try, and they failed completely.
Horribly.
Is the fucking worst movie I wanted. Worst movie I've ever seen.
No, we did on the podcast. I did say this is the worst thing I've ever seen, and you did not disagree with me.
No, it is the worst. I mean, other than Uwe Boll, because that's just too low of a bar.
Special, yeah.
But honestly, just general movies, that is the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. I've never seen something that brain dead in my entire life.
I was so full of hate.
So was I. I hate that movie. If anyone even suggests it again, like it just sends a tingle down my like a tingle down my spine. And it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Oh god.
Like some of my friends will be like, "Oh yeah, like remember Savage Water?" And I'll just be like, "You dare speak that name?" And
you dare?
Why
did you say that name?
Why did you say that name? We do not speak that name in this house. Oh my god. But yeah, so that's 1982. It's been really fun actually because there's no Unhinged is the only movie I can think of that I probably wouldn't willingly watch again.
No, I just
Like I could sit through it, but I wouldn't like choose to watch it.
no.
The other movies I probably would. Even
Night Beast.
yeah, even Night Beast, even
Do you have enough?
even Extra.
Extra was fun. It was
Extra,
but it was fun.
but it's fun.
You know, I mean, Harry Bromley Davenport
Yes,
had a vision,
he did.
and I
The most British man in all of existence had a vision. I'm sorry, just every time I see that name, I'm just like, damn, that is
a name.
that
Like,
he
you
is
didn't
definitely from England.
like you didn't have to put your middle name on there,
Oh, he did though.
but he did.
I'm just like, he is definitely from England.
It's like, yeah, that is. If you had any doubt of where this movie's from,
it's definitely an English.
look up the name of the director and writer.
But yeah, so 1982. I don't have anything more to say actually.
No, on to
On to 83. Let's see what happens.
It's open wide. Open this demon hole.
For 1982, and they mostly come out at night. This has been Will.
This has been Alex.
And we will talk to you all later.
Bye.
Guard your demon hole.
Oh,
Guard it well.
open wide.
Don't let the
Open.
demons come out of your demon hole.
Consensual.
And definitely don't confuse it with the glory hole.
Please
you
don't.
will have a bad time.